What is up, OSP fam? We are back. It's your boy Shaun Q, my partner, like always.
Jay Roman.
Together we're OSP, and I don't know why I say it like that. Together, we're gonna just jump right into what's popping. As we recording this, today is what, the 4th, June 4th,
June 4th.
June 4th. So it was Memorial Day weekend this past weekend, and the people were out, man. The people were out in these streets. I don't know if you saw it. It was insane. And they were out in full effect ahead of the California mask mandate coming. Is going to be lifted on June 15th. So according to California, COVID's gone, baby. That's it. The war is over. Troops are coming home. Ain't no more disease. The virus is gone forever on June 15th. The virus gives up on June 15th. It's tapping out. So I already know people who are making plans to lose their fucking minds. They got plans. Oh, we're gonna go to this bar and this restaurant and this beach and this event and all. It's gonna be fucking madness. And a precursor to that was Memorial Day weekend. I know you were doing the birthday party park thing with the little one. How'd the park look? Because I was like,
It was good. It was packed. It was pretty busy. But it was the weekend before Memorial Day, though, so it's a little different. But as far as like being out and about over the Memorial Day weekend, yeah, I saw restaurants packed. Everybody I talked to on Tuesday who still works in restaurants was like, yeah, Sunday we were jam packed. Monday was slow, this and that. So pretty typical, reminding me of when I was there. Like, okay, yeah, that's right. Monday would have been mellow till later. It would have been like a brunch type day. But it was pretty busy though, even at the park. Mask mandates coming down. I whatever. I live in an area where a bunch of yahoos don't care about that shit anyway. Everywhere you go, there's people without masks or walking in whatever businesses they think they can without masks,
right.
complaining about whatever they're complaining about. So I don't care. You know, whatever. I'm gonna still wear mine. I have to at work anyway. And I'm gonna still probably wear mine in stores because even if I don't know. I'm not even on the right path with that one. What I'm about to say, but I can't trust people, especially in South Orange County. These yahoos, are fighting for haircuts versus wearing a mask. Their rights were being taken away. So I even hear a bunch of them talking about they're going to start faking, their vaccines and say that they got it. You know what I mean? And it's like, why? Why would
Yeah.
you even fake that? It's so dumb. It's just like before. Why would you not wear a mask? It protects you and someone else. And in fact, it protects someone else more. It protects your family that you go home to. So it's just kind of one of those dumb things. I understand the mask coming down and all that because we are approaching herd immunity, but our state, as of this morning, when I was watching the news or listening to the news, we're only 54%, vaccinated in the whole state for people who are 18 and over. So we have still the people who are younger, not fully vaccinated. Still a bunch of people not fully vaccinated, and some people were just outright refusing because of whatever reason. Because the idea is, oh, everyone around me is vaccinated. Why do I need to get vaccinated? Because you won't die. You know what I mean? It's that plain and simple. People I've talked to who have had it, some of them, granted, yes, oh, I got sniffles. That's all I got. And so they think that they are so like fucking Superman, But then I've had a couple people that they said it was the worst thing they've ever experienced in their life. All right. And these are grown people in shape, great health, young and old. And, a coworker of my wife, my mom died at the age of 24. Young girl, apparently no health issues, died. You know what I mean? My old stepdad, my ex stepdad died. You know what I mean? He was in his 50s from what I understand, healthy-ish, stuff like that. So it's just like, why would you not still try and care about protecting people? But it's one of those things like you're gonna do you because you think that's the thing to do, in our country of freedom. And I don't even know what to think about it because as the country's opened up, now we have shootings every damn day, like multiple.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
Exactly.
at least we went a while without shootings as often as they are right
Right.
now. So I don't know what to think about all that.
I'm gonna come back to that about people coming out in public later. We're gonna get back to that as part of our what the shit. But it was Memorial Day weekend, and I knew about this, but I forgot about it. And I feel like I love that the internet is reminding us of stuff about how Memorial Day was created and how it was started by freed slaves in 1868, and it's something that gets brushed over and not talked about enough. And as much as we give people shit for doing research and the internet being, whatever it is, I like that there's knowledge like this that pops up that
Mm-hmm.
people who are unaware of it can actually be made aware. Like, look, man, this is something else started by Black people giving no credit to black people.
Yep.
It's like, oh no, it's just for the soldiers. It's just for the soldiers. Yeah, but who started making it for the soldiers? It doesn't matter. It's America. It's America. It's America. And it's
Man, I didn't know. I didn't know, and I saw a bunch of celebrities saying the same thing. Like they never knew Memorial Day was started by black people. Of course we didn't. Why would they have ever told us that?
right. Right. We didn't know because nobody was telling us. So it also marked the 100-year anniversary of the Tulsa Race Massacre. Now, for those of you who don't know, this is when mobs of white people went to Black Wall Street, invaded it, and burned it to the ground.
Yes.
It was back in 1921. They left like 9,000 out of 10,000 people homeless. 300 people died. And if you don't know enough about it, go do some research. We talked about one of our favorite shows in 2020, which was Watchmen. And that first episode of Watchmen hits that. That's the best depiction I've seen of that, of the Tulsa Massacre, is when it hits with what happened in Tulsa and how these people were living not necessarily wealthy, but comfortably. Like they were building their own. We had our own for a minute. And it took one white lady saying that this black man tried to rape her, and then the whole thing gets burned to the fucking ground. It's insane. It should also never be fucking forgotten, and it should be talked about all the fucking time.
Yep. I got a couple things on that one. So
go.
Watchmen, for one, when it came out with that episode, it hit us. It was like bam, right in your face. I thought, and until I looked it up afterward, of course, I thought this definitely is like a story. There's no way this happened in our country. We're talking bombs from the sky, planes being dropped, kerosene, whatever they had, dropping on these people in our own country. Did not know that this was a thing. Didn't really think about it much, but apparently this happened, of course, in multiple cities, just not as like just in your face with the bombs from the sky and all that. Yeah, there's been invasions, stuff like that. We all know Rosewood, stuff like that. One thing about it though is I still didn't know until recently though that it was started by a rumor about a black man who was then exonerated for supposedly attempting or raping this woman when apparently it was like he brushed her in the elevator or some crap like that.
Yep.
You know, so it just gave them the excuse. One thing that is still to this moment that I think about, it makes me want to just tear the world apart, is the white people whose businesses suffered during that were given reparations. The white owners of whatever businesses they had, because their places were burnt and looted as well and all that. So they hurt their own and then they repaid their own, but they didn't repay any of the black people.
Not only that, none of the white people who committed the crimes against these people were punished in any way.
Yes, exactly. You know, and so yeah, ever. So it's one of those things like you think about the history and then you think about what they're trying to do now, as far as like still push it to the side, still trying to say that was so long ago. Let's put this a little bit in perspective. I can't remember. I think it was this year, just last month. 107-year-old woman spoke about when she was there. 107-year-old black woman spoke about when she was there, and she said to this day she still hears the screams, still smells the fires, still sees the bodies. That's 100-year trauma, and you're still trying to brush it under the rug as if it shouldn't have ever meant anything. And again, we didn't learn about it until kind of recently. One of those things history is never going to teach you. You have to learn it from people who are going to tell you the history for real. It's awful, man. It's awful. I hate even thinking about it. I hate even thinking that they actually never got their due. You know what I mean? Yeah, they rebuilt some of it, but it's still not the same. It's still not what it was.
Not at all.
You know what I mean? But they fought though. They fought to get some back. So, you know, but it's still not what it was. You know?
I think it's funny when we talk about the terrorism that hits our country, and we say like 9/11, never forget, but we don't talk about the terrorism that is our country attacking its own. Yeah. We forget that all the fucking time. To stay on topic with that, it has been just over a year since George Floyd was murdered by police in Minnesota. And we wanted to, not much has changed. There have been things set in motion to create some kind of change. Obviously, it's never going to be enough, but there have been some things set in motion. Like I know there's been a few redirected budgets in a few states at an attempt at police reform. I know they've been pulling money from certain police budgets and putting them and reallocating them in other places in certain states and passing bills like that. But it's nothing huge. It's not the dramatic change you would expect from all the marching, from all the protests, from all the rallying, but it's a small change. For example, in Illinois, Chi-Town, stand up. In Evanston, Illinois, that's
I knew you were gonna do something like
the first city in the U.S. to offer Black residents reparations.
that.
Now, the details of these reparations, it's like if someone in your ancestry owned a home or was in Evanston, Illinois from like 1919 and 1969 or something like that, 29 to 69, then you are eligible for, it was like against housing. If you were discriminated against with housing, you were eligible for like a $25,000 grant, which they call reparations. But at the same time, I mean, like I said, it's a step in the right direction. It's not huge. They're not just giving out money to Black people like, hey, you Black? Here's $100. Sorry about what happened. But it's it's a step. This is what the alderman said. This is set aside for an injured community that happens to be Black, that was injured by the city of Evanston for anti-Black housing policies. That's how they're justifying it, even though it's being referred to as reparations. That's how they're justifying. They're saying, sorry that the place you live in fucked you over and getting a house years ago, so now we're going to try to help you get homes, which I'm cool with. I like it. Like I said, step right direction, very small step, but a step. It's something. And from that, it leads to what happened. I know you saw parts of it. They had the first ever meeting. It was a Zoom meeting of the California Reparations Task Force.
Yeah.
On this force, I know there's like a young lawyer who's on there, young Black lawyer, and then there's a civil rights activist who was arrested with Dr. King once at a diner, at a sit-in. So they have the full spectrum. They have young Black American and they have older civil rights American, and they're working on a task force for California reparations. How far they're going to get, I have no fucking idea.
Yeah.
I don't know what they could present to Californians and the governor and be like, all right, so this is what we think you should do, and everybody's going to be okay with it. I don't know what's going to happen, but it's the fact that they even have a task force is a step in the right direction.
Yeah. It's one of those reminders that the government moves slowly because there's a bill on the books. And granted, the president that was in before was never going to try and do a bill like this. He tried to tout that he did some like justice reform, whatever. He still didn't do enough. And it wasn't really him. He just put his name on it because he's the one who had to sign it. So he didn't really do jack shit. That's why it killed me when all those rappers were like, oh, he did so much. Shut up. Government moves really slowly. There's a bill with George Floyd's name that is supposed to be getting passed. Hopefully it gets passed to do more as far as at the very least, allowing us to hold cops more accountable. Okay, because how do they always hold us accountable? You know what I mean? Financially. You miss court, your ass is in jail because you didn't pay your bail or you lost your bail. You have probation, it's what, $100 every time you visit or whatever the hell it is, right? And every time you miss, and there's always interest, this and that. These qualified immunity things make it so that we can't sue cops. If we can start suing cops, suing their families, suing their estates, suing everything else besides the police department or besides the city, maybe some things will change because a lot of people don't seem to change unless you hit their wallets. Why can't I make a cop's family broke ass if they're going to kill one of my family members? I'll tell you that. That's how I feel about it. I'm going to take every penny you got for the rest of your life. That's how I feel about it. Just like they try to do O.J. Simpson. They try to take every penny he has because he, allegedly killed Nicole. I still don't know ever for sure. Will never be proven in court. So that being said, with that, the movement of reparations has now become louder. The movement for reform has now become louder, which is nice. Even in the year post all the protests, which is great. San Diego also started a reparations thing as well. So their own thing a little bit ago. I forgot about it because it was like briefly said because they're a smaller city. People didn't really think about it much, but they're talking about it. The fact that LA brought it up, the fact that a major city, not just Evanston, which I don't know how close Evanston is to Chicago. I don't know if it's close at all, but a major city, Los Angeles, California, largest Democratic state in the nation, right? Can make some real movement. Okay, will other states follow? We don't know, but they did give reparations to the Japanese that were in the internment camps. Okay, so if they can give them reparations, you can give former slave descendants something too. You know what I mean? Now this bullshit though, I gotta say, this bullshit about let's give them great housing deals and this and that. No. I don't want the deal, man. I want the house.
Huh.
You don't owe me some land with a great loan. No, no, no. You owe me
Right.
the house. You owe me the property. I don't think it goes even nearly far enough because you just cut out, and if they count generations by 25 years, you cut out 4 generations minimum of generational wealth. Okay. So it's not about, oh, now you're going to give me a 1% loan on a 30-year loan of whatever cost of a house. Give me the damn house or give me the money and shut your damn mouth. You know what I mean? I don't want anything else. You know what I mean? So I get maybe not getting the money. Okay, whatever. But give me the land. Don't give me the loan. Give me the land. You know, and that's where it really matters to me when it comes to these people getting that, because that's what they were supposed to get in the first place a long time ago.
Yeah.
So moving in the right direction, great. Still not enough, in my opinion. Still going to take a long time to get anywhere further. And if it doesn't happen in the next, say, 3 years with a Democratic legislation in whatever towns and cities there is, California's probably going to be Democrat the rest of our lives. So we'll see about that. But then who knows? The next people come in might say, nah, I'm going to wipe that slate clean and not even bother. Just like they did with the Harriet Tubman $20 bill. Where's it at? Trump said it's not going to be out till 2028 now. That's because he thought he was going to be here till 2028.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Or him or someone in his family. So, you know what I mean? Now hopefully we can get that going again. But stuff like that. So the fact that there's been a task force meeting, I think is super dope. You know what I mean? There's so many things going on in our country and in our state. It's about time that there's some kind of movement. Let's just keep it going though. We got to keep it going. We got to get every state to join. We still don't have the women's rights bill signed. You know what I mean? Like, what the hell's going on with that? And you have what, like 7 states trying to back out. Man, it just kills me. But so I mean, hopefully we get something really going, and we can find out who the descendants are, stuff like that. My question is, you know, how much further can we take it? I mean, we stole this entire land from Native Americans, and we gave them casinos. Okay, all right. So now some people can make billions of dollars off that. But what do you do about all that? That's all the tough stuff. I don't know. That's too much for me, for my simple mind to think about. I'm gonna leave that all alone for now. One thing I'm gonna bring up though that is super, super amazing, freaking dope about California right now, Bruce's Beach. Okay, for those of us who didn't know until recently, Bruce's Beach was a Black-owned property by the Bruces, the Bruce family. In, I think it's Manhattan Beach, like right around that area, where the Manhattan Beach city people came in and declared eminent domain, took it from them. No money, pennies on the dollar, whatever, you know what I mean? And then let it sit empty for years and years and years. And then built on it, properties, hotels, restaurants, all that stuff. And then gained all this stuff for it, right? This whole time, and this is also a really long time ago, like 100 years ago, something like that. This was a thriving Black business that was stolen from them because the local whites were upset that Black people were over there having a good time and making money doing it. It is now passed through the California Senate to give the property back to the family, to the descendants. So this is huge. This may be the little pebble or the little snowball that rolls for the rest of the country, or at least this state, you know, as far as reparations, all that stuff. Because the fact that they're working on giving the property, and this is a bipartisan vote that they did on this. So both sides want to be part of this history-making deal where they give this land back to the family. They're also asking for the reparations of the money they lost from all this time it was taken away.
Right.
And it's their property to be able to lease and loan whatever they want to do with it. So all the people who already live on the property are now going to basically be tenants to the Bruces.
Wow.
You know, granted, as far as like if someone owns a property on the property, I don't know exactly how they could work all that out. But it's a huge, huge, huge badass thing that's happening from a really old tragedy that, again, we didn't know until the last couple of years. You know what I mean? It's kind of interesting that we have maybe the most, you know, certifiably racist, you know, in your face president. Granted, there was a lot of others that were racist, but this guy was on Twitter every day with it. So it's a little different. But, you know, that it started happening with that, whereas it never really happened before. But the Bruce's Beach thing has been going on for decades. So they've been fighting that for a long time. But again, it's making traction because this last couple of years, people have really seen this movement needs to happen. You know what I mean? And there's so much going on. Just a huge, huge thing.
That's dope. I'm definitely gonna look more into that.
And now I want to visit Brewster Beach when they get it back up and running.
Right, for real. Just that's some historic shit. As we're recording this, it is beginning of June. A lot of stuff happens in June, including Pride Month. Pride Month is when the world's LGBTQ community they come together, celebrate the freedom to be themselves. And last year, because of COVID, most of the events and parades and all that were canceled for obvious reasons. But this year they're doing a parade in New York. They're doing a parade in Paris, and everybody's just happy to be out. I have an idea of what it's gonna look like. I feel like the same way I think on June 15th is gonna look like the end of the Wiz when all the black people took off their fucked up clothes. Can you feel a brand new day? Can you? That's what I feel like it's gonna look like. And so a lot of people in the LGBTQ plus community, they're kind of upset about what is being referred to as rainbow washing that takes place during June, and that's when these companies change their logos to like
Oh.
rainbow colored and rainbow colored logos, and they try to sell pride themed merchandise to
Mm-hmm.
capitalize when they're not really contributing to any of the
Mm-hmm.
LGBTQ plus communities. They're just like, hey, we're with you. Go Pride. How about a McPride burger? You're like, are you donating any money? No.
Yep.
You know what'll make taste better? This rainbow mixshake. And
Yep.
so, as much as I get it, why people would be mad about it, like they weren't supporting us, they didn't give a fuck about us. But now that it's the cool thing to do, everybody's changing the color of their logo. Every black person I've ever met ever is like, that sounds like our February. Every
Yeah.
February,
Every time.
Black History Month, everybody's all pro black. You see like black IKEA commercials and look at that. Come down to blacks and Toyota and fucking orange, whatever, man. Like
Yep.
everything's all super black. And we're like, is any of that money going to any black people? Fuck no, but we're with you. Yeah. Right.
So, well, so funny that you kind of say that about the money in the black community and or gay community and all that. So in people's own communities, like the dollar bill kind of floats around a little bit. And if they keep it in the same community, it floats for even longer. It makes that one place wealthy. That kind of happened with like Black Wall Street. So it's always interesting to see any month that comes around, Asian History Month, Black Pride Month, Latino History Month. And it's like, what do you think you're doing? Like, we're not stupid. We see you only do this once a month. We see you only have these people in your commercials, once a year. I mean, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
it always kills me. It's like, at least, and I say this all the time, and I know it's really kind of stupid, at least they don't serve the McRib anymore starting in February like they used to every time. At least that's not a thing. It was so blatantly obvious in your face what they were doing before that at least they stopped that. So they started earlier or they put it some random time during the year. But at least it's not so much just like bam, here you go, black people. We know you like McRibs. It's like
I remember
and oh my gosh, it's
they'd be like,
ridiculous.
we at McDonald's celebrate Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. For this month only, a buy one, get one free McRib.
We gotta start doing some commercials or something. That
Like,
was
what
that was a great
in
face
the
you just made. Um,
actual fuck are they doing?
you know,
Yeah, that
so and so shit like that. And you're right. The flags and all that stuff and all the merch at the stores. It's like unless we know, and that you are contributing to funds that help that community, don't bother. Don't bother. Because we appreciate you show support, or maybe in your workplace you don't discriminate. But is that it? Because that's the law anyway. You
right,
know what I mean? So like, you don't tell me you're doing a whole lot of anything unless you're actually putting money where your mouth is. You know what I mean?
right.
Or, let's make it. Let's see some real happenings here. There's some real changes.
Yeah.
So it's crazy.
It is. It's actually and this is another one I just found out about recently. Even though it's been around for years, Black Music Month.
Hmm.
Black Music Month is the celebration of African American music in the United States.
Yes.
And that
Talk
means,
street first.
Jay Roman, you have to listen to less Eminem, more J. Cole. Have you listened to the new J. Cole like I asked you to?
I did. I did. I'm a fan. Yes, of course I'm a fan. I have not been able to like listen and
Break down, absorb.
break down and like I like to when it comes to a new album, and really get my feel of it, because you know me, I'm an album type. I don't like to just put a bunch of singles unless I put a tape for myself together. That's fine, or I still call
Right.
them tapes when it comes to mixtapes. But so I want to get that album feel. Yeah, I do listen to a lot of Eminem. He's just making such good stuff these days. And I just want him to stay on that course. But J. Cole, man, I've loved J. Cole since I first heard him. You know what I mean? And then the fact that He's still going. He's still strong, and he's purposefully doing music that he wants to make. There may be a fan tune here and there for the radio and here and all that, but I don't mind that because most of the rest is for me. You know,
Right.
he's making music like the way Wu-Tang said, making music that they wanted to hear. That's what it sounds like J. Cole does. And I'm like, that's what's up, because that's when you know you're making kind of the best stuff. I mean, and you speak of Black Music Month, I just watched Get On Up again. It's one of those things that someone like J. Cole, someone like James Brown, and granted, they're not the same. They're not even close to the same planet. But when you have people who can like make music in a way that really makes you feel it, even if it's a way someone said, you know what, that's not going to work, but they still do it, man, love it. And people, you know, Pride Month has taken over as far as what June is. You know, every time June 1st comes around, though, I always tell myself, this is Black Music Month. It was not Pride Month to me until years ago. And even when it happened, I was like, wait, when did that happen? When did Pride Month become June? And maybe it was that for a really long time, and I never knew because I wasn't in tune with the gay community, or as much as I am now. But it's always been Black Music Month to me, you know. And Eminem's produced by a black guy, so I'll still listen to him. You can't take it away from me. But you know what I mean. But no, I purposely, you know, make sure I listen to whatever I can all the time anyway. And you know, I've been playing, you know, J. Cole. I've been playing, you know, some more James Brown, my Michael Jackson for my little girl, which granted, you know, he was white at some point. So, you know, but he's always a black man. You know, you can't change, right? You can't change all that. So I love Black Music Month. And people forget rock and roll is black music. Hip hop, of course, is black music. Jazz is black music. You know, most of the major music forms in this country were created by black people. And better watch out, because you let them, they're going to take over all of them. You know, we already saw what they did to Lil Nas X and try to kick him out of country because he broke their records.
He broke country music.
You know what I mean? So let's not forget that. And if there's gay musicians out there like Lil Nas X, who happens to be black and does black music as well, bam, there we go. All the better. You know what I mean? We get it all. So I would never forget it's Black Music Month, and especially with Juneteenth coming. My birthday is on Juneteenth. I never heard of Juneteenth till I was about 20, you know, and that's coming. And that also marks another historic day that until last year, most people I know, besides you, Beltria, and maybe a few other members of maybe our circle or family, had no clue what Juneteenth was. So again, a little bit of progress. Yeah. A little bit of progress with these social movements, you know, and a lot of these sites that we're following now that are really kind of putting out that information. It's one of those things like, wait, why is this information just coming out now? Why did it take this last year? And I think it's one of those timing things. It's just hitting at the right time. It's like, you know what? Now is the time, because we have to make this known. It has to be known.
Agreed. Do you know who started Black Music Month?
I do not.
It was President Jimmy Carter.
Really?
He was the one that started the initiative to call it. He said, this is Black Music Month in America. Let's do it. Right?
I do know today is also National Donut Day.
Always back to food, Jay Roman. Always comes back to food.
Hey, because I like black food. I know donuts aren't black food, but I like black people food too. You know, but
always comes back to food too.
But that's what's up. Jimmy Carter, I mean, I don't know his era exactly, his years of service, but that's what's up, you know?
That's like you never hear the phrase, you know what was wrong with the Carter administration? Nobody says that. Nobody knows. Right?
Exactly.
Fucking love that. Exactly. We got to take a commercial real quick. Keep your eyes open, keep your ears open. We'll be right back. Can you feel a brand new day?
All right.
Don't you bring me no bad news. I'm gonna watch The Wiz, man. That shit just get me. No bad news. We are back up in your face or in your ear. You know what, people? We love that y'all listen to us. We absolutely do. I know people listen to podcasts in their car, on the toilet, at work, whatever. But we're actually really pretty in real life. So sometimes, you know, check us out on YouTube. The videos are dope. You can actually see the expressions that are being made. You can see Jay Roman's dope ass hat. All right. You can see all the shit I got roaming around in my fucking room. Just check in on YouTube every once in a while. Watch an episode every now and then. We're back. We're chopping it up about what's happening in these streets. we want to get into a few things about sports. Um, so Simone Biles has broken gymnastics. She broke it. It's over. It's done. She won. Whatever the goal of gymnastics is, she broke that shit. They should cancel it and just she should retire the whole sport at the Olympics and just move on. This chick has gotten so good. Not only is she doing moves that have never been seen before, but they can't, or not that they can't, they refuse to reward her more points for what she's doing because they're basically saying she's too good. That would be like saying when Michael Jordan runs down the court, crosses up a dude, then dunks on four people, it should only be worth 1 point instead of two because he's just too good. That is what the fuck they sound like. What he did was too good. Nah, she's too good. We can't give her more points. It has baffled her. It has pissed her off. It has bothered her. And what is now about to be her last competition at the Olympics coming up, she has decided, like they here's how they try to justify it. They were like, her moves are too lethal. And everybody's like, lethal? Yeah, she does stuff that you're not supposed to do. And if somebody else tries this, they could hurt themselves and die. They basically said, in gymnastics, where you flip on a fucking beam, beam or on these two poles, or you're flipping your body around, that's already dangerous. They're saying that what she is doing is so dangerous that if you try it, you could die. Therefore, they're not going to reward extra points for it because they don't want anybody else being the next Simone Biles. And that is that bullshit. I can say with a certainty that if Simone Biles was a white girl from Russia, this wouldn't be an issue. I feel like if it's because not only is she's a black athlete who's breaking the sport by being too good at it, but it's constricting, it's confining, it's ridiculous to not want people to try to do the things that she does with ease. But I will say this, shout out to Simone Biles for being the bigger person because she's like, in these Olympics, I'm going to continue to do some shit you've never seen done. And I'm going to do it not because I need the points, not because I want the recognition, just because I want to know if I can do it. I'm doing it for myself. And that to me is the most pure athlete leadership shit I've ever heard. When you say, listen, I'm not doing this for you then. I'm not doing it for the credit or all that. I'm doing it just to know if I can push myself to that limit, I can do it. And I love that. We see you, Simone. We're fans. I cannot wait to see this shit. Because I've seen some of the shit she's done. I was like, I couldn't do that in a video game with a I couldn't. I can't do that with somebody
with an extra hand.
Yeah, right. I have no idea what the fuck she just did.
So she's an ultra competitor, as we know. You know what I mean? So the fact that she still wants to do them regardless of the points, it just goes to show that nature of not just competitiveness, but pushing yourself on the biggest stage. The best want to show off on the biggest stage. No matter what you say, what you think, they're going to try it. And it's going to be when the entire world is watching. And I can't wait for this bullshit ass gymnast governing body to not award her points and see what the world says and roast their ass. You know what I mean? Because I'm going to watch it, and if she messes up, then she's going to mess up. Whatever. That's how it goes. It's the agony of defeat in sports, right? The fact that you want to refuse to award this person extra points because you're scared that that person might try it and not do it should not be your concern.
Nope.
That person should stay in their damn lane. If you can't do it and you've never tried it before, now is not the time. So it reminds me of like the dunk contest. I know it's not the same, but older dunkers or people who are judges who have been in the contest before, they always say, go with what you know. Don't try something new on the day of. Go with what you know, what you've already been practicing. All these other people should only go with what they've been practicing. If they can't get there, then fuck it. They can't get there. They should still be trying. Just because people maybe thought they couldn't beat Michael Jordan, they still went out and tried.
Right.
But it didn't happen. But it's one of those things. Why does this always happen to black people? Why is it always the black people who then got to be told to tone it down? Yeah. Why is it Kareem who has to get banned from dunking? Why is it, now Simone Biles talking about, we're not going to give you more points. You know what I mean? Like, this is absolutely ridiculous. You know what I mean? You need to do something about that bullshit. And I can't wait to see how it goes because that's a whole lot of nonsense.
I don't understand in a sport where you are twerking your body. Like, Any average person right now go outside and try to do a fucking backflip.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not going to end well. But these people, since like very young ages, have been
Hmm.
training their bodies to do
Yes.
spectacular shit. And now you're saying you can only be so spectacular. Try this,
Yes.
try that. Jump off this and flip 47 times to hit the ground. But don't do 48. She's doing 48, and that's dangerous. The fuck?
And here's another thing. In any other Olympic sport, do you tell the runner to not run as fast?
Right.
Do you tell the jumper to not jump as high? Do you tell maybe the boxer to not hit as hard to hit the knockout? I mean, and who are they told this bullshit? Do you tell the swimmer to stop swimming so damn fast? I don't get it, man. I don't get it. It doesn't make any sense. If it's sports and the point of it is to show your skills to the world to the highest level possible, as the judge, I should want to see this. And I should want to see it on this highest stage. I should be proud to be able to say I was the point person at that time that gave her a perfect, whatever the score might be, a perfect 3, a perfect 5, perfect 10. Every sport has their own little like point system.
Right.
I want to be able to say she deserved that if she did, and if she didn't, I'd say you know what, she didn't. I'd make my argument, but not because it's so good that you think she's too much for others to handle. So what?
So what?
That's not her fault. But now you're making it her fault.
Everybody else should get better. Period.
Exactly. She's now elevated the sport, which means now everyone should get better.
Yeah. Period.
So,
speaking of female athletes at the top of their game, the big deal in sports right now is Naomi Osaka. Naomi Osaka she's that Gen Zer, man. Like these kids are so not only in tune with what's happening mentally, and they are so informed as opposed to athletes in the past. She decided, like, she's been battling with depression for years. She's been telling us that for years. She is one of those athletes, and we know a bunch of those athletes who is very, very good at what they do, but does not like the media attention that comes along with it. Does not want to be under the lights, under that pressure of tell us why you won. Tell us why you lost. Tell us what you were thinking when you won. Tell us what you were thinking when you lost. What did you eat today? What are you gonna eat tomorrow? Who you fucking, huh? Who you hugging? Who you want to be fucking? Like,
yeah, no, I feel you though. I feel you, man.
She's like, look, I said I didn't want to do this. I want to come out. I want to play this sport. I'm good at the sport. Why can't I just be good at the sport? Why do I have to do the media part? And she explained how the media part, how they do just that. They pick at you. When you're winning, they're like, oh, cool, they'll suck your dick, suck your titty. But when you're losing, they want you to explain to the world why it is you failed. And that is a hard, hard task for anybody. I don't give a fuck how professional of an athlete you are, how much of your life you trained for this, how big of a politician you are. Anybody who has to be put in front of the world and explain why you failed, it's hard to do that shit. It's hard. And we watch some of the professionals, like we've seen Jordan. We've watched The Last Dance. We saw how the media would be like, Jordan, is this your last year? Jordan, this is the last year? Jordan, what are you doing? Jordan, why is Scotty mad? Jordan, and he has to not only speak for the whole team, but he has to tell people what he's feeling all the time. It was madness. And at no point in time could Jordan, very professional, would be like, I got the same answer. He would make some jokes, but you could see it was eating at it. Now these younger athletes are like, I don't have to do this shit. No, I'm not doing this. I'm going to go out. I'm going to play my game. And if you want to hear about how it went, if I want to talk to you about it, I will. If I don't, go fuck yourself. I feel like they should have that. There are a bunch of people supporting her. Serena Williams was like, I just want to give her a hug. A bunch of athletes are like, good. Finally, somebody said that shit. Finally. And she's not the first athlete to say it. She won't be the last, but she's the first athlete at her level to say it and do it to a point where she's like, I just will not play for you then. In one of the biggest tournaments in my sport, I just won't play. Deuces. I'm out. Peace. And I guarantee you the people at the French Open were not expecting that.
Yeah.
The people in charge of that were like, well, you either show up or you're getting fined. She's like, I'm not showing up. Well, show up or you're going to get fined. She's like, well, how about this? I'm just not going to show up. And they were like, oh.
Yeah, I'll just withdraw.
Yeah, which nobody expected that. And then our beautiful producer Veltria sent us this, which I thought was dope. And it is the Calm app announces a plan to pay Naomi Osaka's fine and match future fines with charitable donations. Talking about jumping in at the right time.
Yeah.
Talking about making sure that somebody is mentally healthy. Not just for years, all people have cared about is physical health. Nobody's giving a fuck about mental health. I'm gonna take this somewhere you don't want to go after this, but speak on it.
Oh, you think so? I got a couple good ones here. So
Let's go.
here's the big thing about it. And you were asking me about the Jamel Hill interview. I'm not sure if this is the same interview where I heard this. So the French Open is also the same French Open that when Osaka won and she beat Serena Williams. Granted, I think there was something off about that match where something happened to Serena, something like that. They booed her. They booed her when she won it.
Uh-huh.
Also the same French Open that complained and tried to ban Serena's cat suit that was actually created to help with her blood clots.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because she has a blood clotting issue. So that suit was specifically designed for her body and her physiology to help with possible blood clots. Was it also super hot? Maybe whatever, very defining on the body? Yes. But get over this shit, man. Serena is built like no woman around the world. Or maybe a lot of women who try now these days, but she's naturally built like that. You know what I mean? So, like, leave that shit alone. So it's no wonder why Naomi Osaka would especially pick this one and say, you know what? I don't want to do the interviews. And then the fact they try to pull this bullshit, man, I was so proud to even hear that she was like, oh, peace out. And you know what? This is kind of a newish thing. It is a Gen Z thing for sure, where it happens more often. But I'm going to take you back a little bit right now. I'm going to tell you when this kind of really started. People ain't really thinking about this. I'm going to go back to Allen Iverson.
Yeah.
Allen Iverson, a big, huge thing about Allen Iverson is he's the hip-hop era. Mm-hmm. And you know what? He wasn't taking any bullshit in an interview. If he didn't want to interview, he didn't interview. If he took a fine, he took a fine. If he didn't like what you said about it, he told you. He looked at you funny, all that. Fast forward later, 20 years later, completely different sport, you have Marshawn Lynch. Granted, there's a few in between, but these are the biggest, most notable ones because, again, top of their game. Allen Iverson was top of his game at that time. Mm-hmm. Marshawn Lynch, with the I'm only here so I don't get fined, was at the top of his game. We're talking prime time. And Naomi Osaka, right there, girl. You take that and you run with it because you deserve that. You deserve a mental health break. We just went through a year of a pandemic, and you expect this young lady to come in, whip that ass, and then if she loses, talk about her damn life. You need to move on with that shit. Sometimes everyone doesn't want to be like that. Kawhi Leonard barely talks. He only talks as he has to. Look at that guy, top of his game, 2-time MVP, 2-time champion. He barely talks, but he does a little bit, just enough. I was kind of hoping Naomi Osaka would be like, I'm just here so I don't get fined and just pull that. But you know what? I'm even prouder that she walked away. You know what? Peace out, French Open. I don't need you. Yeah. You may not. The governing body of tennis, the ATP and the ITF and all this whatever IFTs, whatever damn acronyms they have for themselves, they've been around a really long time. They're going to be here after her. But right now, she's the top girl in the sport. So they better get their shit right if they want her to even come back. I wouldn't put it past her to just walk away. She has millions of dollars now. She can do whatever she wants for the rest of her life. You know what I mean? So she doesn't need them. She doesn't need them. But a sport like that needs someone like her.
Absolutely.
So in my opinion. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I remember the Allen Iverson thing, and I remember so in our next episode, we have an episode coming up, but it's taking some while to work on it because we want it to be right. And it's called mental health. And we want to talk about men and their mental health. And I know this one we're talking about the women because I wanted to save the guys like Allen Iverson, Marshawn Lynch, Kyrie Irving recently. A lot of these guys who were like, look, I don't want to do these interviews. Like, I don't want even Kevin Durant was like, look, I'm sorry you're mad that I don't want to do these interviews. I want to play basketball. I'm good at basketball. Let me just play basketball. You're making money off me playing basketball. Do I have to come out and tell you why I won or lost? What if I don't want to? You know what I mean? Not everybody wants to be in the spotlight because they're good at a sport. It's not the same thing. These aren't entertainers to where they're like, I'm a trained actor. I'm a singer. I'm used to being in front of a crowd. Put my life. Yeah. These are athletes who are like, I play a sport, and now you want me to do that and be good at this. Not everybody can do it, and not everybody wants to fucking do it. So we're definitely going to get into that in the next episode. I did want to mention, as of yesterday, for the first time in his career, LeBron James got knocked out of the first round of the playoffs. Oh, gosh. Yeah. And so while we're talking about sports and mental health, and we were talking about physical health, aside from your broken Anthony Davis, who just can't.
That's the first time he got knocked out in the first round, even from when he was a rookie and stuff? For,
First time.
for early years? Oh, okay.
If he's been to the playoffs, he's made it past the first round. This was the first time knocked out in the first round, and so it was la da 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 da. And so it's so funny when you see these people, the internet, the same place where we're talking about people are more informed, you get to see everybody's opinion. And these same people who were like, well, I don't want LeBron in LA, man. We don't need him. And then he wins him a chip and like, LeBron's the GOAT. You guys need to stop talking about Jordan and Kobe. LeBron's the GOAT. And then they lose and like LeBron walks off the court before the game's over. And everybody's like, LeBron's a piece of shit. He let us down. He's the worst. They are judging this man for everything he does. When he does good, they love him. When he does bad, they hate him. But I would like to right now go on record as saying I would like all the Jordan LeBron comparisons to cease and desist.
I think those are done. I really do.
I would hope so, because never in Jordan's career, losing by whatever amount, has he ever left the fucking court early. He took his losses like a champ. He took his wins like a champ. And one of the big things from the last dance was the whole beef he had with the Pistons, and how they left before the game was over, and it bothered him because it wasn't sportsmanship. Even when Jordan was mad at his team, he would shit on them in practice, but he would take that L with them. And the biggest argument for all these people who put those conversations, well, who's the greatest? Who's the greatest? I can tell you this basic fact, just to shut this shit up once and for all. The NBA schedule now is 72 games. At one point, when the Lakers won last year, was what, 50 games they played?
Yeah.
50 games. Right. So when they look at Jordan and his scoring titles and, oh, he won this many scoring titles and he was this and all that. Jordan, if he wasn't hurt, he
Actually,
played.
The regular season is 82 games. 82 games.
No, they moved it down to 72.
Oh, for this year?
It's now, I think going forward.
Oh, damn. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't hear that.
So,
I must have missed that.
Right. So if Jordan wasn't hurt, he played 82 games. Not only is nobody ever going to do that again because they shortened the season, these motherfuckers ain't even playing 72 games. Yeah. Nobody in the NBA is playing every fucking game because of load management. So you can't even put that category, those stats together, because this dude would go out there every fucking game and play his ass off and then have to deal with his own mental health. Hey, we heard your dad died. Win a championship. Hey, what's up with all your gambling? What's going on with your championship? Like that dude was the biggest star in the world, and he had to answer every fucking question. Yeah. So I understand now why these younger cats are like, yeah, he was the greatest of all time, but I don't want to do that shit. I don't want you to ask if I was at this strip club with this bitch. None of your fucking business. You know what I mean? It's insane. That's gonna come up on the next episode. We're definitely gonna get into that. Do you want to ask that?
Hey, since you want to talk shit about LeBron or whatever, okay? So I'm gonna bring this up real quick. Jordan recently, I forget when the interview was, last couple years, was asked about best players in the NBA, whatever. He made mention that there's only four players at the time when the interview happened that would be able to make it in his era. LeBron was one of them. I'm gonna leave it at that.
Yeah, no, we agree with that. I agree that
I know we do, but most people didn't know this. That Jordan himself only thinks 4 people in the last, say, 20 years could have made it in his era. I
agree 100% because the way they play, I think LeBron is absolutely, and I call them cross-generational players. LeBron is absolutely a cross-generational player. I don't think there's an era of his sport where he wouldn't be good in. I can disagree. I won't say that about like Shaq, because Shaq is proof that he wouldn't be able to do what he did before. Now, when everybody's running up and down the court,
that was different. Going now is different.
So, LeBron's absolutely a cross-generational player. No argument whatsoever. Let's get into our what the shit to keep that rolling while we're talking about sports. So we mentioned that, Memorial Day hits. Everybody's going out in public. The band's about to be lifted and all this shit. And everybody, can you feel a brand new day? On that note, people who have been in the house for a year plus not being able to go to sporting events finally get to go out to sporting events. And how do they act? Like jackasses.
Yep.
People throwing popcorn at players, people throwing water bottles at players, people fucking spitting on athletes that are much bigger, faster, and stronger than them.
That's a death wish.
What the fuck is wrong with people? You waited this long. You would think it would go the other way. You would think you've been locked up in the house so long, you were begging for sports to come back. Now you go back, you would think, oh my God, I missed this. Maybe I should, learn how to fucking act. When it's the opposite. Fans rush into court to try to make layups and shit. Like, what the fuck is wrong with y'all? What is wrong with you people? Have you lost your minds? I have a theory on what I think should happen. I think before every basketball game and probably before every athletic sporting event, they should do a quick little 60-second recap of the Malice in the Palace. And they should show what happens when you pick the wrong motherfucker to throw something at. What happens when you think it's cool to throw something at one of these bigger, stronger, faster athletes, and how quick they can get up in the stands and whip your monkey ass? I feel like people need to be reminded. Like, people forgot. As much as I know NBA doesn't want that to tarnish their legacy, fuck that. 30 seconds before every game, but like, also fans, if I could have your attention to the screen, remember, this shit can happen to you. Watch this dude's face get fucking caved in by Steven Jackson and Ron Artest. Watch how you talk to these athletes. The guy that threw fucking popcorn at Russell Westbrook, it took 9 grown-ass men to hold back Russell Westbrook. Do you think if he got his hands on you, sir, it would have been a conversation? Sir, he would have fucked you up, man. What is wrong with you? Do you think that because Trae Young looks small on TV, that it's okay to spit on Trae Young? Have you lost your fucking mind? What is wrong with y'all? What the shit? I don't understand these people. We need more beatings in sports. That's all I'm saying. We need people to realize that these are athletes. Yes, we pay to watch them entertain us, but at the same time, they're still men, they're still women, they're still adults, they're still bigger, stronger, faster than us. They can still, if they want to, probably fuck us up. Act accordingly. James Harden said it best. Like, none of these people would do this shit if they saw me in the street. Nobody's walking up to Russell Westbrook like, hey, man, bitch ass nigga. Nobody's doing that. They're like, hey, Russ, big fan, man. Welcome to DC, baby. What's going on? Yeah, no, don't. Come on, man. It's insane. I feel like it didn't happen as much back in the day, back when Jordan played, because these guys were fighting on the court. Larry Bird was throwing blows. Fucking Charles Oakley was beating niggas up. People were in the crowd like, wouldn't want to be that dude.
Charles Barkley punched out Shaq. I mean, it was only a couple hits, but he full swung, haymakers.
Yeah. You think anybody was throwing shit at the Detroit Pistons when the Bad Boy Pistons was there? Every member of the starting 5, maybe with the exception of Isaiah Thomas, would have gone up in the stands and fucked you up. If you throw some shit at Bill Laimbeer, hey, there he is right there. Get him. That's it. People.
Yeah, man.
We miss sports. We all miss sports. They're reopening. We're going back to events. Try to look at how it was when you weren't allowed to go. Like, man, I wish I could go to a baseball game or a basketball game. Football's coming back. And then when you get there, appreciate it for what it was. This is what you missed. Act like you've been there. And I know for a fact that because of COVID, these prices are high as shit. So that means you're paying more to go see it than you would have before. Come on, man. Enjoy your fucking time, because there's tons of people who can't afford it who would have loved to have been in those seats where you're throwing shit at athletes. These ain't fucking gladiators, man. You'll get fucked up. That's my what the shit. I apologize.
No, that's a good one. That's a good one, because I had not seen a lot of that. Only thing I remember right now is the Super Bowl with the guy running out on the field. So that was the Super Bowl, right? So besides that, the next test now is concerts. Concerts coming back. Concerts are coming back. There's not going to be any fights in the place, because Hamilton's coming. But concerts, we saw fights before COVID. So I can't even imagine now these yahoos jumping on stage now. So if they're going to run on the court, that's the same yahoo who's going to run on the stage. And I hope they get the ass whipped.
Yeah.
By a guitar or something.
Yeah.
Drumstick right in the face. something,
Listen, NBA, take my advice. Put that video out. Put that package out. This can happen to you. It needs to be put out there.
I mean, speaking of mental health, right? And Ron Artest.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. Doesn't get more mental health awareness than Meta World Peace. We are going to get up out your face. Until next time, I'm Shaun Q. Be smart, people.
Jay Roman, we out.
Keep it old school.